Good evening, everyone. We are living through some of the wildest times that I could ever imagine. We have things happening all over the world that are beginning to affect us here at the U.S. homeland. You know your egg prices are going up. You know your politicians are losing their minds. A lot of them are losing power, which is something that they never, ever want to lose. No money, no power loss. They're golden. We're getting into some of these things that are happening, including Kash Patel. We're talking about Hexeth. We're talking about the USAID. We're talking about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, really what this country is going to start looking like in the next couple of months. So sit back, enjoy the show with us. Make sure that you mention where you're coming from, where you're viewing in from. I'm at the southern end of the Appalachian Trail. That is the northern part of Alabama. And over here, we know firsthand what it's going to be like because a lot of people here locally are very interested in homesteading, preparedness, and they know how to live frugally. So I hope that you and your family are prepping for that. Let's get into some of what's happening. Hey, from Detroit, Chris from Detroit. Nemesis, good to see you. Saw a couple of other members coming in, so I'm glad to see you guys popping in here. Make sure that you leave a mention down there so that we know you're in-house tonight. Michigan, Las Vegas, Alabama, north of Birmingham, Atlanta, Illinois. So we're all over the USA. All over the world, really, because you're going to have people come in from Australia. You're going to have people from Mexico, from Canada, everybody. And as long as we're all in it together, us, the people, then we are going to be okay. So let's get to some of what we're talking about tonight. This is Schumer. Now, Schumer is the guy who sat there and grilled cheese on top of his raw burger in a post that he put out for everyone to see. Let's see what he has to say about DOGE and about the U.S. government.
Without objection.
So, Mr. President, yesterday, Elon Musk took issues to my warning that DOGE is operating in many ways like a shadow government. Here's what I said. I said, quote, DOGE is not a real government agency. Quote, DOGE has no authority to make spending decisions. Quote, DOGE has no authority to shut programs down or ignore federal law. DOGE's conduct, I said, cannot be allowed to stand. Congress must take action to restore the rule of law.
Obviously, the old world order, the old politicians are starting to get, yeah, that's right, who said it here? Sway said they're starting to get a little bit nervous. They see huge foundational changes to their way of life, their way of spending your money, how the tax money will get appropriated, how it's going to move through the government, and what they're going to be able to do with it. And at the end of the day, that's what concerns them the most. Are you going to rock the boat of the pharmaceutical companies? Are you going to make all of these other organizations scared? Now, we just saw the pharmaceutical companies, and I think I have a link about that today. We saw their stocks go down. Why? Because RFK Jr. is getting a little bit closer to becoming our leading health directorate here inside the USA. And so the pharmaceuticals, they're scared. You have all these cover companies and organizations scared. It's obvious they don't want to happen what is happening right now. I don't really see any, if they really wanted this not to happen, they would be pushing for certain things, but they're not. And so that tells you that what's coming down the Trump pipeline right now, and at least some of what they're trying to do to clean up corruption, and I'm not for or against, I just want you and me, we the people, to be okay. What they're trying to do is hopefully clean slate. What I hope doesn't happen, and we won't really know for a year, 4 years, whatever it might be, we won't know whether what they're putting into place right now is really better for us, the people. So we just kind of have to watch and see. And that's why we're here. That's why this is such a great place for us all to look at what's going on and talk about it together. So here's John Kennedy, kind of in reply to this right here.
I make omelets. You get the point. I make omelets. You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Now, President Trump ran for office saying, I'm going to review every single penny in the federal budget. Now, how are you going to review the spending in the federal budget without reviewing the spending? And that's what Mr. Musk is doing.
Now, I know that this guy, if the tables were turned, all of the people who are for this right now would probably be against it if it was a Democrat-led government, because then their money would maybe be in jeopardy. So I do understand the dynamic of that, and I want you guys to know that I understand that, and that we all as a community know that things are leaning more towards their pocket. You know, their boys are there. So when you're backed up by your boys, and your boys are the ones doing the rulemaking, you're able to talk out a little bit more. So that's why I say, let's see what happens after this.
Now, many of my Democratic colleagues and some of the tofu-eating wokarati at the USAID are screaming like they're part of a prison riot.
Now, that's true. We are seeing a lot. You know, I did, Perpetuo, I did apply for the White House credentials. Who knows? I mean, you never know, right? It might be interesting to actually get some behind the scenes of what's going on, because you guys know I'm going to tell you like it is.
Because they don't want us reviewing the spending. But that's all Mr. Musk is doing, and he's finding some pretty interesting stuff. To my friends who are upset, I would say with respect, call somebody who cares.
So there's a lot of name calling, a lot of back and forth there, but I think that we're going to start to see some more information come out very soon. In fact, just how corrupt the government has been. Now, remember, I believe that this has happened before Trump. So they're going to have to go all the way back and really show us what it was like during the Bush era, maybe even the first Trump time. So watch out. There might be a lot of dirty business that comes out. Now, we've been seeing a lot of things happen, from the airplane crashes to violence in the protest. You really never know when something bad is going to come at you and your family. This is reportedly a video of a man getting followed home from the bank. Months ago, I started telling you guys to watch out for this kind of thing, because you would start seeing people be followed home from the grocery store. You'd start to see them being followed home from picking their kids up for school. Predators are going to look for vulnerabilities, right? And so here we have a person reportedly followed home from a bank. Now he backs in. Remember, you have 3 moments to make change when seeing impending violence. You have 3 moments. So if I saw somebody, now we live in an open carry state here, so your ability to get a self-defense tool is very nearby to your body in physicality. So if I saw somebody trying to close my mode of direction off like this, I'm already on my game. So this guy, I hope, is already on his game. You and I are watching this first together for the first time. I haven't seen this before. But these people stop right here. Okay? Now you got some people getting out of this vehicle, all dressed in black. You see the gloves. Okay, they're already pulling out some tools. These are kinetic projectile tools, right? So this is nothing good. Things are getting pretty bad pretty quick here. I'm going to I'm going to change the video quality of this a little bit so YouTube doesn't get... So maybe they can't see what these the banana-shaped projectile tools in their hands are. Now, he has an opportunity, right? This guy is driving a multi-thousand-pound weapon. And so he had an opportunity right as soon as they started getting out of the vehicle to stop that problem. And he had that opportunity to make it so that they and theirs could not come up to him, because he's driving a vehicle that has the ability to push people by pedals on the ground. And maybe he should have exercised that. Now they're just... Now look at what's happening. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. So they're knocking on the window. I had to check because it sounded like there was... it sounded like, pupes, but it wasn't. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. They're saying give it up. So maybe he just went to the ATM. Give it up. They keep saying give it up. Now here's the first time that he actually decided to do something. Why wouldn't he? Why did he say? How many seconds is this? Okay. Let's count the seconds, right? Together. Let me see. I might have to refresh this. Okay, so he sees them there. Let's see. You're at 6 seconds. Maybe he's not paying attention. Okay, they're out of the vehicle at 11 seconds. He doesn't drive away for 26. He spends 12 seconds inside of their crosshairs. So he should have acted definitely before that. But I want you and your family to know that this could happen anywhere. So please let your family know that they might think there's relative safety out there and peace of mind in government or law enforcement, but those are things that happen afterwards. Here's Trump saying that the United States will, let's see what Trump has to say. They say take over the Gaza Strip.
Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative.
The volume on this is really low. I don't know why it's so low, but what Trump is saying is they want to go back to Gaza, but they've got no alternative. Nemesis, thank you so much. You should consider a live members chat too. What do you mean by that, Nemesis? Will you put it down there below? Do you mean like keeping the chat just between the members? I don't know what you mean. Maybe that guy was getting footage on his phone. Well, you will never see me getting footage on my phone with kinetic projectile tools staring at my face.
Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site.
So Trump's saying Gaza is a demolition site. There's no alternative.
It's just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down.
Every building is down, he says.
They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and
now, he does say it right there. He says,
and the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip. So you can see that just like in the Bush eras, there was some doing action going on. Trump's doing that. He's got that doing it energy. What do they call it at Home Depot before all the Home Depots really cleared out because ICE started raiding the places? Where doers get things done. It looks like that's the kind of energy that's coming in.
And we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site.
Now he says we will own it. We will be responsible to dismantle the dangerous elements of it. I'm not going to repeat the words that he says. And Netanyahu over here to the opposing side of him, for you guys, I think it is, camera right. Netanyahu's over here talking about, agreeing with it.
Level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
So Trump's saying we're going to go in there, the USA, and this is your money and mine. This is our tax money that he's saying, and our brothers and sisters in the military. We're going to go in there, and it's going to be our country's responsibility to make it safe. I don't agree with that. But I know that Trump is probably doing some behind-the-scenes deals that is going to hopefully benefit some of the USA. Okay, so I can't show this. I don't even want... Okay, I'm not even going to show it. There was a school kinetic projectile event that happened in Sweden today. So I want to ask a couple of questions, right? Are allowed in Sweden? Okay, so while kinetic projectile tools are they're allowed in Sweden, they're very, very restricted. You can only possess them if you have a license, and that license is only granted for target shooting or hunting purposes. Essentially, you can't just go buy one. Okay, so a school event happened today in Sweden. Now, the video, horrific. Again, you don't know where you or your kids, your family are going to be when something bad happens. Isaac, thanks so much. He says, thank you. There are very few doing this work. Well, we're just glad that we have such a strong community here that everybody is kind of in this together. And no matter where you're at, on what side of the politics, or even in the world, we're looking at this and going, well, this probably isn't better for me. Or maybe it is going to trend a little bit better, but it might turn bad in the long run. And we're just kind of watching these things and saying, okay, maybe we can navigate our way through it. John Boy, the super chat, thank you. God bless everyone here tonight. Thank you, FSS from Western Tennessee. Well, thank you, for being here with us. So we really appreciate that. And we're thankful that you and yours are watching with us and that we're kind of keeping note of everything that's going on. Okay, let's see if we can move past that. I didn't want to show that Sweden one, but it's probably worth you watching yourself just to know how bad things are getting. They say this was a stunt, a publicized stunt to try and enter the U.S. aid building, stopped by security and police.
Okay, so you are aware this agency is very busy currently, and they are not able to take a meeting currently. They advise that they will be in contact shortly, and that best to contact the Department of State at this time if you need any further comments.
Who is they?
the front office of the administrator.
So they're basically getting turned around. Police, DHS right here, police, DHS over there. They're getting turned away. Let's see what people are saying about it. They say the face when you know you're busted. Okay, that's kind of funny. Their game is over. Look at the faces close up. Let's see if we can skip through here. I didn't see, everybody else here. Maybe there isn't even, and that's just grabbed from something else. Oh, yeah, no, okay. Here they are.
Guys, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So basically, there was nothing that could be done. They turned the press away. They turned the politicians away. A lot of people are scared in that political realm because they are afraid that the dirty little things that they have paid money towards will get out in the open now, and then they'll be held accountable for how they have misused your tax money. Red Hot Gaming, hey, nice to have you. Evening, everybody, is right. Okay, so let's move on to that next one, and let's see what we've got going on here. Looks like this is a press briefing. Wow, okay, that's a lot of screaming. Let me turn it down.
The streets.
Let me turn it down more. She means business, as you can tell, because she's sporting the I mean business haircut.
See you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi nepo baby.
Okay, so here is a politician. Your tax money pays their bills, keeps their lights on. While you're working hard, your tax money pays their bills. Up here, using a certain type of language that is pretty inflammatory, saying that there's war in the streets.
We will see you in the courts, in
See you in the courts.
Congress,
See you in Congress.
in the streets.
See you in the streets. Now, the scary thing here is that when people are very close to losing their mind, they'll act on things like this. And so if you take a certain group of people who feels very held down by the current way that things are going, they will take this sort of verbiage in this sort of press release as an acceptance or an okay to go do the things that they think they've been told to do.
Elon Musk is a Nazi nepo baby.
Okay, so that's enough of that, but let's see what else is going on out there. All right, 16-year-old boy made a phony 911 call to Fairfax County Police. Upon their arrival, he then ambushed the officers. Don't be surprised, they say, at what happens next. Okay. Now, I don't know why the cop started running at him. Maybe he thought the kid was going to pop his tires? Okay, it says officers responded to a suspicious person call. An unknown caller made statements to dispatch that they had deleted 2 people. So these cops are talking to each other. This guy runs over. He looked like he was maybe going to get in the vehicle. He grabs out a pointed tool. He starts ambushing the cop. Okay, so he's got what looks like a fold out. Now, I don't know about you, but anytime you have a point of breakage like that, if you're using this as a tool for self-defense, the point of breakage is right here. And so if it hits something hard, this doesn't look like high quality manufacturing. So if it hits something hard, you'll probably have a breakage point there. Not that this guy needs. That's for you and me on the innocent side of things. Cop grabs his arm, pushes him back. And the guy goes to stab him, but he doesn't look like this is no jailhouse swing right here. This guy has not been eating his Frosted Flakes. More like his Frosted Tips. But they get into an altercation there. Here's the other footage. What did the cop drop? You see the kid look down. The kid dropped a phone or something. That's just wild. So you really don't know, guys. You do not know where you're going to be when this type of thing happens. You could have been a bystander there. We were at the gas station today, and we're sitting there, putting some diesel in the diesel truck, and here's what happens. I see a cop turn his lights on, follow behind a vehicle, and this is a couple 100 feet away from me. A cop turns on his lights, follows behind a vehicle, and then there's a guy that's running in pace with the cop. Maybe he's undercover. I don't know. He definitely had a pot belly, so I wasn't thinking he was a cop. He didn't have anything printing through his shirt. He had a tucked-in shirt. There wasn't anything visible. He had shorts on, so nothing around his ankle. I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here? The lady gets out of the vehicle rather aggressively. And so now I'm getting ready to back up because things are moving a little bit quicker. You know, this isn't just something happening like maybe I didn't see a little bumper to bumper action, you know, a little bit away. The diesel in the diesel truck. That's right. Who would have known? But it was okay. But again, you have to be ready. You have to watch that and be like, okay, what's happening here? And be ready to act, because you don't want to overact, but I'd rather overact or overreact than I would not react in time, like some of the people that we have seen. Let's see. We already saw that. We don't need to see that again. I think this is going to be a good one for us to watch right here. Trump and Rubio's prison deal with El Salvador. Now, this is scary. Let me flip it around so you guys can read it with me. Trump and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, secured a historic agreement with the El Salvador president that will allow the U.S. to deport violent criminals regardless of their nationality to serve out their sentence in El Salvador's high-security mega prison. They say that this is a bold initiative, will cut prison costs, reduce overcrowding, and enhance public safety, keeping dangerous criminals off of U.S. soil. On the surface level, you'd be like, oh, that's a good idea. You look a little bit below that, and you start to think about things. Well, what if 4 years from now, a different political party gets into position, and now they look at you, you crazy homesteading chicken owner. Now they look at you. Oh, you've canned before? Well, to can, you need a pressure cooker. And do you know that pressure cookers are regulated by the Department of Homeland Security? You're put on a watch list if you buy that in association with a couple of other things that you might fully legally need. So what if they decide that what you're doing is criminal? So we're entering in, now, that's not supposed to be for American citizens because we have the Constitution. We have things that protect us. But what if the things that are meant to be good and put into place right now turn out to be a little bit scary for us in the future? And that's why I'm saying, please just watch. This says, this section allows for the revocation of citizenship for naturalized citizens, ones that have engaged in terror, treason, or fraud in obtaining their status. This means gang members who concealed their affiliation. They will be stripped of this. Additionally, it says the International Prison Transfer Program already allows for foreign nationals convicted in the USA to serve sentences in their home countries. This is a new agreement that expands on the concept. It allows El Salvador to house these criminals from any country, including the USA, that the USA wants to remove. Instead of spending $35,000 per inmate per year in U.S. prisons, which that's ridiculous. It doesn't cost you. If you took a room in your home and you made 6 rooms in your home and all you could do is go in your room in your home, it wouldn't cost $35,000 to house yourself. They say that America can now outsource these costs to El Salvador at a fraction of the price. The agreement strengthens the Trump border or broader immigration enforcement strategy, creates a safe third country framework. This is already in place with Guatemala. This will now apply to El Salvador. Criminals who illegally enter the U.S. and commit violent offenses will no longer clog up American prisons. They will be released to these other countries to serve out their prison term. They will probably never be heard from again, not on U.S. soil or in U.S. media. So it's just watching, okay? We just have to watch and make sure that this type of thing doesn't really roll over into a way that it could harm us as citizens in the future. Okay, this is a report saying that let's see who this is. Rep. Francis Rooney, President Trump to meet key European leaders. Let's listen up.
Support the World Economic. I found out that AID has given money to support the World Economic Forum. Why would the United States taxpayer be subsidizing the World Economic Forum when everybody that arrives over there arrives in a Gulfstream G5?
Interesting thoughts. I like to see how now it's just normal everyone just realizes that all the politicians that go to all of these meetings like Davos and the World Economic Forum and all that, everybody just understands that there's lots of hooking, lots of plug and coke dealing, lots of things going on there that should not be going on, especially not with your tax money. And everyone's just okay with it. It's just another doing business with you. Just in, New York health officials, they're now directing hospitals immediately start testing for H5N1 bird flu. Here's the NewYorkCity.gov advisory. Please see the below health advisory for the Centers for Disease Control. They say an ongoing global outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza has primarily affected dairy cows and poultry and other animals. 66 human cases, including a death, have been identified in the USA, and now the CDC recommends ordering subtyping for all influenza A positive specimens that are collected from hospitalized individuals within 24 hours of hospital admission. This is to rapidly detect any human cases of avian influenza. Now, I'm kind of mixed on my feelings on this. We definitely need to know what's going on out there. I have my own protocol, right? So we have chickens. You guys have seen them on this channel. We've talked about them. The chickens are in a covered coop and run. If I experience a sudden die-off, which it is happening, don't get me wrong. I'm reading all the forums of individuals. These aren't public releases in which the poultry houses are just trying to double dip and get relief money or insurance money. These are individuals in very small farms. They're seeing massive die-offs where they just wake up and boom, 20%, 30% of their flock is dead overnight. I know it's happening, and we have our own protocols in place here in-house. Keep them covered is number one, J.R. Barilla. And those protocols are that if we do start to experience any sort of sudden die-off or illness issue, we hazmat ourselves up. Because even though I'm of good health and, what they did to all of us humans after COVID, what they did with that death fog 2025, if you can believe some of the reports, I'm not taking any chances because Russia did come out and say that America did want the bird flu to run rampant. So my plan is to protect myself and my family. It's ventilated. It's very well ventilated by air. Their run and their coop. It is covered, so no migrating birds can drop their infected feces right on them. Don't know. Banning animal protein. How do you keep your chicken safe? Okay, so that's what we do. Now, New York City says test everybody. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Let's see what we've got here. Florida Governor DeSantis announces a Second Amendment summer tax holiday. You've already seen this. We talked about it a little bit. We've talked in chat a little bit about it. Memorial Day to July 4th. So let's get that. If you're in Florida, when is Memorial Day? You've got May 26th to July 4th, according to this. You can get ammunition and self-protection tools tax-free.
Summer tax holiday. We are unveiling the
I've got to flip this around.
Second Amendment summer tax holiday. So from Memorial Day till the 4th of July, you can get your ammunition, your firearms, and your accoutrements tax-free in the state of Florida. We are unveiling the Second Amendment summer.
So they're definitely getting ready for something big. I mean, we know the southern states are. A lot of people say that we might get divided back into old South and North lines. Here's Trump saying he's left instructions. Now, I want you to listen to this.
And their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why. Lack of intelligence, perhaps.
I mean, he just throws shade like a cloud, right? He doesn't even care. So he says that there are now at the official capacity, instructions that if Trump gets gitted and they can prove it's Iran, which they'll use it, right? Even if it gets gitted by some guy about immigration, they're going to say that was probably Iran. And the people who want to will take advantage of that. And like he said, the instructions are clear.
Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated.
Says they would be obliterated.
That'd be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why. Lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. So I'm signing this, and it's a very powerful.
So interesting. They're kind of setting things up, right, for World War III to really take a different turn. Make believe. We still have. I can walk from our house to our tiny house. Because we still have it. We use it as a project house for our crafts and stuff, family members. And I have a son who's getting older. So if he wants to go, kind of like still be under the support structure of the family, but live a little bit, on his own, then that's an option too. So those are all things that we consider. It was definitely a good investment to build that tiny house. All right, let's see what else we've got going on. Hey, from Maryland. Hey. German girls booking a 50 euro hotel, shocked by what they see. Where's this at? In Paris. NJ Prepper, I still have some family down there in Florida, so we do occasionally go down there and we do some runs.
Jackie! Ich bin geschockt! Wir können das noch umbuchen!
So these girls just cannot believe how dirty things are, right? They feel like maybe their 50 euro, the 50 euro booking should have paid for a better environment. But I've heard from lots of people that Paris is pretty dirty. Now, I don't know. I've never been there. Maybe, I can go to dirty parts of town wherever. You can go to the best looking town and I can go around the back of a building, take a video and be like, look at how filthy this place is. So maybe it isn't, but I kind of believe, at least most of the videos that I see, that it's kind of a hole and really gross. Somebody says there's bed bugs in them streets. Hey, Noel from Michigan. The cities will become their own states. Interesting. Nice to meet you, Richie. Yeah, so pretty gross there. I wouldn't be going there with my family, but lots of people do. They say it's great. Paris, right? All right, EU says yes to worm-baked goodies. Get ready, Europe, February 10th. Your bread will contain a little bit more worms than you wanted. A new regulation. You can now have up to 4% of UV-treated mealworm powder in your daily food, and we're talking bread and your pasta. So just wait. This is a slow grow, right? They're going to, and they've done this before, they'll put it out slowly in European countries. It'll be adapted. People will be like, oh, okay. They'll whine a little bit, but then they'll eat the bugs. Then it'll get to Canada. They'll eat the bugs. And then by the time they're here, they'll put a little warning at the bottom of your food. And that warning will say, may contain a small amount of animal-rich protein or some sort of warning like that. Just like they do with the genetically modified new food now. Instead of putting it on the things that are GMO, they're like, well, this might contain it. And so humans, as slow-brained as we are sometimes, we overlook that. And we're like, oh, it said might contain. So I'm just going to feed my kids this GMO food because it's only a might. It's not a will. It's the same reason we smoke every day as humans or drink too much because it might give you cancer. It might kill you, but there's no one saying it's going to, so we're good. So they say this isn't your backyard variety of mealworm. It's the larva of the mealworm beetle, zapped with UV light for safety, then powderized, put it into your food. Okay, I have two feelings on this. One, I've eaten mealworms. Mealworms are probably one of the easiest things that you can grow for your chickens ever as a protein. Mealworms, all you need is a potato cut in half, oatmeal. The potato goes with not the wet side in the oatmeal. The wet side stays just barely above the oatmeal. The mealworms come in, They get the liquid from the potato, they eat the oats, they turn into beetles, they repeat the cycle over and over again after breeding, and it's contained and very easy to do. One of the easiest ways that you could ever offer protein to your poultry. I've eaten them because it's just oats and potato. And I'm like, well, okay, it's a closed system. Let's see how it tastes. They taste fine. Would I breed them for myself in an emergency? Absolutely. Am I going to breed them so that I can eat them now? Absolutely freaking not. But it's just some knowledge for you. Just something to kind of take in there. So here in Europe, they are getting ready to put worms in all of your foods so that they can save more money. They can increase the protein. They can get some extra money from the government, and they can tell you that they're a green company. This is AOC.
One of the most unintelligent billionaires. This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
This looks like either this is like AI or she never intended whoever screen captured this to put it out in the public, because this is very off key. This is not professional. This is, she doesn't. Anytime you see the politicians laughing too much at themselves and their own little jokes, you know that their handlers are not writing them for them.
Which, you know, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV. Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, like, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart.
So right there, guys, to think we don't have geniuses at 19 years old shows a person's own ignorance. Sure, they don't have maturity, most likely, or even maybe they do. But to think we don't have geniuses that are better at math and better at figuring things out, better at programming than you and I ever will be, and definitely than she ever will be, she's lost.
And the danger in the lack of intelligence.
Yeah, Richie, you just get them at a pet store. Any pet store. Make sure you're not getting superworms. Superworms don't breed the same way. It has to be just regular old mealworms. The superworms are the big ones. If you have reptiles, they like them more. They don't breed the same. They're not as easy. You're not going to get the same numbers. The only thing I'm going to tell you to watch out for is you have to change your containers every month or two. You change the container because they're going to, of course, be going to the bathroom there, right? So you sift them out, you put them in a new container of oats and if you don't have a potato, you can put a carrot. You just make sure the moisture is not below, because you'll get mold. The moisture part of it, when you cut it in half, has to be up above the oatmeal. And that's it. Game over. You're breeding and your chickens are happy.
And the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also just least knowledgeable.
You can tell from every part of this. I don't have anything for or against her. If you were to put AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene right next to each other, I could do a grading just on the visuals if I didn't know who they were. But as far as who they are behind the scenes and the line they're trying to toe, AOC right here obviously has no idea what she's talking about, because when it's off the cuff like this, you can see that the discussion points and what she's trying to say don't match up.
About these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button.
Yeah, I love that. How old is AOC? Okay, 35 years old right now. So how old was AOC when she was elected? 29 years old, 10 years older than the people that she's belittling right now, elected to serve as the youngest woman in Congress. Let that sink in for a minute, that this person is belittling people, saying you can't be smart at 19. You literally can't be, is what she's telling them. But yet she, at 29, just 10 years more mature than that, as a member of Congress. Well, I think you and I can kind of see what has gone wrong there.
And inevitably, they are going to hit a button and things can go sideways.
So now she's saying that these 19-year-olds will basically nuke the world because they'll inevitably without the understanding of being 23 or 24, they'll just hit the wrong button and everybody will get scared and their money will go away. So without a doubt, you can start to see that the politicians are freaking out. They're freaking out, man. This is global warming in action. Apparently, the Tokachi region in Japan experienced record-breaking snowfall. The city was buried under 1.2 meters of snow in just 12 hours as of the morning, marking the highest snowfall ever recorded since records began. It's because I'm uncultured that the way this guy talks reminds me of the Ninja Warrior. Wild. And this right after the record snowfall. The record before now in Florida for snow was 3 inches. That happened back in like the 1800s. And then we got 10 inches there this year. Something's definitely not right. And, you know, you have to kind of think about your house planning, what you'll do if your windows get broken in a snowstorm, what you're going to do there. So breaking these stocks of both manufacturers of injectable medicines, Pfizer and Moderna, they crashed after the RFK nomination advancement. What does that tell you? I think we all know what that says. That says they are afraid that there's now going to be accountability. And if there's accountability, then they are screwed. Because for decades, they've been allowed to run amok. And if you or your family member got hurt, there was no accountability. And it's so crazy because no matter what other kind of position you're in, manufacturing or, working somewhere, if you suggest that somebody gets something, or even worse, if you mandate them to get it, and then they get hurt, there's accountability there. Like, you got to make amends somehow. This goes back ages, centuries, right? That if you did something wrong, then you're handing over a goat, and you're like, I'm sorry, here's a goat, or here's a piece of land, or here's, we'll give you somebody out of jail. There's always accountability. But now, there's no accountability in these chemical pharmaceutical agencies. And they're afraid that maybe there will be soon. All right, here's Trump.
Elon Musk, thank you, sir. On Elon Musk, how often are you talking to him? And have there been ideas that he's brought to you that you've said, oh, no, wait a minute, this is going a little too far?
Well, many ideas, but look, he's done a great job. Look at all the fraud that he's found in this U.S. AID. It's a disaster what the people, radical left lunatics, they have things that nobody would have even believed. The whole thing with $100 million spent on you-know-what, with money going to all sorts of groups that shouldn't deserve to get any money, with the money. I'd like to see what the kickbacks are. How much money has been kicked back? Who would spend that kind of money to some of the things that you read about and I read about and I see every night on the news and every morning when I read the papers? Who would spend money for that? I would say this. The people that got all that money, are they kicking it back to the people that gave it from God?
Now, Trump's right there calling out some pretty scary things, right? He says, are the people who got the money. So let's say you had an organization set up and your organization's whole plan was to read rainbow-colored books to school children through an agenda. And the government was like, sure, here's $5 million to initiate this. You didn't even have to do anything. Maybe print out a couple hundred books, right? How many schools are in the USA? A couple thousand books. You print out a couple thousand, you say you did your job, wipe your hands of it, and you're $4 million richer. But what Trump is suggesting is, did these organizations maybe kick back or give back some of that money? So you weren't actually $4 million richer. Instead, you were maybe $1 million richer because 3 of that went back to the politician who made sure that you got that 4 to 5 millions.
Government. No, that's, to me, very, very corrupt. The real question is, how much of a kickback has there been? And one of the things I want to investigate rapidly, because I've never seen anything to this.
All right, so there he is, kind of like, and the reporter asked, whoa. Whoa. The reporter asked, have you been talking to Elon Musk, and has he said anything that was maybe too radical? And Trump was like, hey, there's been a lot of ideas, but then he gets his back again. Hey, Gary, in Connecticut. All right, let me turn this lady's voice down because she was loud. She's still loud.
Will not take this. We will fight back.
Now, here's what I've been telling you. That as soon as the politicians start telling people words like fight, or we are at war, or like that other one said, see you in the streets, these are very inflammatory terms. And they give the people who have lost their mind already an idea that, hey, she's talking to me. She might be telling me to go to war, to fight back, to get Elon Musk in the streets. And that's where you have these sort of crazies come out of the woodwork and they do these weird things.
Republicans, that we will not take this. We will fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for
Somebody said the parrots in the back, fight back, fight back. And as you said that, I was imagining a parrot on the corner of a pirate's shoulder saying it. So just close your eyes for a second and hear the parrot.
We will fight back. Fight back.
All right, that tickled me.
Because I know we've been out here for a long time. And goddamn it, shut down the city.
Oh, so here she is saying shut down the city. So she's already said fight back. We're going to war. We will not let this happen. Shut down the city.
We are at war.
There again, we are at war. Does this sound like peaceful diplomacy to you?
Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and they be given full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States of America, we are at war.
Crazy, isn't it? The parrot looks like Gollum from the Hobbit cartoon in 1997. Let's see about this. Hobbit cartoon, 1997, Gollum. Well, that's not Gollum. Okay, so here's Gollum. Let me see. Let me see here. Okay. All right, I'm trying to find one. Okay. I'm not saying any more than that, but I appreciate you pointing that out.
Thank you.
Love that. I'm going to put that as my ringtone. So if sometime in a bill collector, maybe it's when the spam calls come through. That's what I wanted to say. Listen.
And as I close out.
All right, let's see what else is going on here. All right. Elizabeth Warren on the RFK Jr. problem. Let's listen.
Has to pay stated. This is not only about a private company that gets sued and has to pay out.
Precious.
Vaccine manufacturers often operate on very slim profit margins.
Do they now? Now, this is news to me, folks, that vaccine manufacturers operate on very small profit margins. Let's just, just for a second, I want to see what was the total net profit of Pfizer in 2023. Isn't that interesting? An AI overview is not available for this at this time. Let's see what Grok has to say, okay? I find that very interesting. Okay, so Grok is telling us $2.1 billion. Okay. All right. Maybe they have 6 million employees, right? How many employees do they have? 88,000 employees. How many executives? Okay, so we got a list of executives. Oh, it just keeps going, doesn't it? 13 high-level executives. What was their combined pay for 2023? You can paste the link in the Grok, and he will review the post. The combined Pfizer top executive pay in 2023 can be based on this. 21 mil to this guy, 6 mil to this guy, 9 mil to this guy, 6 mil to this guy, 6 mil to this guy. Those are very thin profit margins, and I can definitely see what Senator Warren is saying about this.
To pay out. Vaccine manufacturers often operate on very slim profit margins.
Very slim profit margins. I mean, they probably don't have very much money to give to politicians to lobby with them.
If they get sued, repeatedly and successfully, they simply move out of the vaccine space.
Okay, listen to this. If they get sued successfully, which you have to lose money in a lawsuit successfully, that means you have to be been found of wrongdoing, right? And I love how in the mind of this person and many other people like them, a company being held accountable for hurting somebody, them being held accountable is a bad thing in their mind. How does that make sense to anyone?
Sued repeatedly and successfully, they simply move out of the vaccine space. We've already seen this happen with vaccines in the past. 20 years ago, we watched vaccines just move away if they did not have protection from these kinds of lawsuits. The consequence of Mr.
No, she doesn't just have stock, Mindy. It's reported, and I can't speak on the validity of this, but it's reported and widely accepted as information, as fact, that she is directly in the pocketbook of the manufacturers.
Kennedy's ability to make those lawsuits easier is also the ability to shut down access and manufacturing for vaccines for every one of us. And I think that's a terrible state has to pay out.
She's afraid.
Vaccine
we see a lot of people
manufacturers
actually afraid
often
of
operate
that
on
happening.
Very slim.
All right, let's see what else we got going on here. What are we at on time? We are at 51 minutes, 11 seconds. Thank you guys for spending the afternoon and the or evening, depending on where you're at, here with us. Full Spectrum Survival only on YouTube. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down there. And I want to thank our members for making these live shows possible. We were doing just members only stuff, and a lot of the members were like, hey, please put it out there for everybody. You know, that's what I'm paying for, is what they said, so that you could put it out there for everybody and we can all get this information together and share in this community. Because talking to 1,000, 2,000 people about this and getting ideas from each other is way different than talking to 40, 50, 60 people about it. So thank you guys for being here with us. And hey, Kelly, you want to come say hi? So thank you, everybody, for wishing Kelly a happy birthday yesterday and her taking a quick part in the live show. She's just over there doing some homesteading stuff. Yep. Sick and tired. Accountability leads to responsibility. That leads to disciplinary action, 100%. And thank you so much for the super chat. All right, let's see what's going on here. Saw this pretty surreal thing at the White House, this person says. The man walked by my wife and I as we were taking pictures. He walked by and said an expletive. Then he started crossing the barriers until he reached the fence. And you can see the snipers on top scurrying around and the dogs racing around through the lawn. Let me take the volume down because I think there was music there. So this guy's obviously trying to scale the fence at the White House. Thanks, Rika. Happy late birthday, people are saying, Cal.
Thank you, thank you.
So, I mean, this dude, he's been working out his core, right? Obviously. I said I've heard Ninja Warrior before with the Japanese snow, but I think I'm hearing it again. Let's skip around and see if he... Okay, the boys come up real quick. Oh. Wouldn't want to get that in the the good old dangerous spot. Now, I don't understand this part. Are they just like, hey, fella, get down from there? And he's like, you know, you're right. I shouldn't be up here. And he decides to come back down. SWAT. What? All right. Oh, okay. I thought he was kicking the guy, but he just got over the chains. And they actually handled it pretty nicely. You know, they could have done a lot more. Someone trying to scale the White House. Okay. But that was interesting to see. SWAT came in. Kind of moved in pretty quick. It says you haven't received much snow in Maine. Technically, you've been seeing CGI since 1994. Upstate New York, 45 minutes from the border. Thank you, Shaw Bingham. All right, let's see what else we've got here. And so it begins, they say. Protesters in D.C. following the Trump and Netanyahu press release saying that Gaza is not for sale.
That's the strip! Let's make one thing loud
What?
and clear to Donald Trump, to Netanyahu, and to the Zionist entity. Gaza is not for sale!
So she's out here in a black hoodie, I think that she's probably, if I had to just guess, and I don't know anything about this, okay? If I had to guess, she's probably, her name's Stephanie. If we just played a little game here. Stephanie was bored all night because Starbucks, wasn't having the same vibe that it normally does. And her friends were like, hey, let's go take part in this anti-U.S. government protest. And so she's like, oh, okay, I've got this. And they handed out all the same shemogs. They handed out all the same black hoodies. Got the signs put together. It was all just lined up in the back of some U-Hauls that showed up there. Netanyahu's face, pretty well done on this building here. I can't read what it says under it, but that's a pretty good projection, right? Oh, it says wanted, I think, at the top. Netanyahu at the bottom. Can't see any more than that, really.
Gaza is not for sale!
Well, at least they have a signer there in case you couldn't feel the vibration of her angst and scream inside of your soul. The signer there is to let everyone know Gaza is not for sale, apparently, even though Donald Trump earlier said it pretty much is. So we'll just have to see who wins that battle. Netanyahu and the Americans coming to display a little diplomacy and freedom in Israel, or is it, Stephanie? This is Maxwell Frost, says, we are members of Congress at the Treasury Department. We want to be let in to provide oversight on behalf of our constituents. It says he is a congressman, an organizer, a musician, and a Floridian. His personal account, follow Rep. Maxwell Frost for official updates.
Frost here with many of my colleagues. We're here because an unelected billionaire has access to the private information of our constituents that we want to answer.
Yeah, so it's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett here, and let me tell y'all.
Congresswoman Jasmine looks, if you have a builder come to your house, right, and he shows up in next year's truck, $100,000 truck, and he's like, prices have gone up. He's shysting you, right? This is what Congresswoman Jasmine reminds me of, because she is dolled up.
But we want to answer.
Yeah, so
I'm not screwing with her fit. She's working the fit. That's fine. But she is definitely dolled up, and I don't think that she's really putting in the work.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett here, and let
now, if you had this lady at the beginning,
hey, everybody, Congressman Macpherson, because
her in the left, I'd be like, that's a congressperson right there. She has no problem staying 65 hours before going home to the cats.
And let me tell y'all, oversight is going to do our job. So we are here because we need to understand why it is that our Department of Treasury has been broken into, and we need to go ahead and handle the person that decided that they were going to have the audit.
Here again, it's almost like they got a memo to talk about handling or declaring war or fighting in the streets or saying they're not safe anymore. Because they're all using very similar talking points and saying the very similar words. Nemesis, good night. If you're taking off, I hope you have a good night. Thank you so much for that super chat there. Yeah, she is dolled up. For sure.
So go after our information.
Seth Magaziner from Rhode Island, former state treasurer. We need to know who is in control of the Treasury, what their permissions are, what their intentions are, and what they want to do.
He looks like he wanted to start this broadcast by saying sorry for all the things that people outside of his control had done before him.
With your money and your identity, we need answers now.
What do we need?
I didn't understand what they need. Let's listen again.
We need answers now.
What do we need?
I'm not sure. A couple of them need questionable life choices. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Border czar Tom Homan says he plans to go going after New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, who taunted that the Trump admin would not be able to do anything and he would continue to house illegal immigrants.
Phil Murphy basically admitted that he knew somebody that didn't have full documentation, that he was hiding over his garage.
But there's someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what, let's have her live at our house above our garage. And good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her.
Your comment on all of that?
Well, that's interesting.
I think the governor's pretty foolish saying what he said, because I got note of it. Won't let it go. We'll look into it. And if he's knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien, That's a violation of Title 8 United States Code 1324. I would seek prosecution, or the Secretary would seek prosecution. So maybe he's bluffing. If he's not, we'll deal with that. And as far as suing sanctuary cities, well, get in line, because the Trump administration is going to do that already. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. There's one example, right? If the young sanctuary cities in New York City, if they would have gave us over the killer of Laken Riley when he got arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he would have been in jail.
All right, so we know what Homan's about. This was a stabbing at a Miami International Mall, Doral. Again, if we had a checklist for how many times every day we would have to be reminded that you could be going to the mall, you could be driving home from the bank, you could be sitting at your workplace, you could be laying in bed, you could be walking your dog, you could be taking a smoke, whatever it is, you don't know when it's going to happen to you. And so being on your game and being aware all the time is like the motto of 2025. Apparently, we all need to be on our game and be aware of ourselves even more. All right, that was that. Let's see what else we got here. ICE is not messing around, they say. They raided a residential neighborhood in Phoenix, Arizona using flashbang grenades and armored vehicles with long battering rams. All right, what's ICE doing with that truck? Hey, Jose. Glad to have you here, man. Problem, reaction, solution. All right, so obviously you got a lot of plain undercover vehicles showing up, right? That's not an official Nissan Maxima or whatever it might be. Hey, Jordan, glad to have you here. Yeah, we're just about wrapping up tonight, but we're watching some of the craziness that's going on out there.
Where's the warrant, man? Who's the leader? Who's in charge? Who's in charge? Who's in charge, man? You guys treating us like criminals, man.
Thanks, Davis. All right, I was hoping that I was gonna see the battering ram in action just so we could have some commentary on its effectiveness, but apparently we're asking too much. Maybe they got out of there without having to damage the person's house. I sure hope so. All right, Trump says we will develop and create thousands of jobs in Gaza.
Gaza to the U.S.
Well, they want peace in the Middle East. It's very simple. We know their leader and their leaders very well. They're wonderful people, and they want peace in the Middle East. As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and it'll be something.
Hold on, let me increase the quality here for a second, because I just want to. That's pretty much as max as it goes. I kind of wanted to see Netanyahu's eyes when Trump said that we're going to create thousands of jobs. He kind of looked like, what? Who said that?
Is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of.
You bet we are.
But
that's definitely what we're doing,
feels
Mr. President.
Continuing the same process.
Let me just write that down.
Thousands. Forever, over and over again, and then it starts, and then the killing starts, and all of the other problems start, and you end up in the same place, and we don't want to see that happen. So by the United States, with its stability and strength.
All right, so the U.S., apparently we are now Gazan landlords using the tax money to provide housing and jobs for everybody there.
Caitlin, go ahead. Caitlin.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Just
Caitlin,
to follow
go
up
ahead.
on what you were saying there.
Say it. Go ahead, please.
Just to follow up on what you were saying about the job.
One thing I'm happy about, okay? We spent a lot of time over the last couple of months and years with a president who gave a viewing of weakness and declining health. And so I'm at least happy to see that Trump is able to stand up there and still control a conversation. Because at nothing else, you hate Trump, you like him, whatever it is, that's what you need when dealing with other countries. You need to be able to not be seen as on your way out.
Gaza, going to other countries. One, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision world people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think
So here's Trump telling us just how it is, that what's happening in Gaza is pretty much going to stop as long as the USA gets in here and does some USA business. We've just given the directive of diplomacy.
The world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History has, you just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
The Riviera of the Middle East. The Riviera. Beautiful. Can you imagine this as the Gaza Strip now? The Riviera. Trump Towers, Gaza. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay at Trump Towers, Gaza this weekend. Imagine. We're all, this began in 1800s. Love your lives, Brad. It's nice. Hey, Rodney, it's good to have you here with us, and it's good for us all to interact here together. All right. I don't want to focus on that too much. Maybe we got time for another video or a clip or two. We're already past our hour time. Let's see what else we can get here. This is a little bit of the financials. Trump's crypto czar.
Us to do. So one of the things that the president instructed us to do was to evaluate the idea for a Bitcoin reserve, and so that is one of the things. That's one of the first things we're going to look at as part of the internal working group in the administration. So as soon as we get all that set up, we're still waiting for some cabinet secretaries who are on the working group to get confirmed. So we're still in the very early stages of this. But that's one of the first things we're gonna look at is the feasibility of a Bitcoin reserve. I think the concept of the sovereign wealth fund is a little separate, and you'd have to talk to Secretary Lutnick, or soon to be Secretary Lutnick, about that.
So they're talking about a crypto reserve, guys. Lots of things going on in the crypto space. A lot of the big banks are putting their money towards these spaces. You won't find me doing it because crypto to me is kind of like gold and it's kind of like stocks. It's like a rich guy's game, right? And sure, maybe somebody could buy one little unknown penny stock and put $10 into it and suddenly they're a millionaire. That's a lottery win. I don't play the lottery because I would rather invest my money in things I know are going to have a chance to give me a return on that investment, whether that's through entertainment, through physical assets, some way I need to get returned on that investment. And I don't play the lottery. I don't do penny stocks. I don't do big boy stocks. I don't buy gold. I just don't have the funds to be able to throw at those things. But a lot of the crypto guys, a lot of the crypto boys, and a lot of the economic boys are all saying the same thing, that crypto is going to go through the roof. Stock market's going to react positively to the changes that Trump is trying to make. And you're going to see America as a place where you can make more money. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can make more money, but you can also spend a lot more through inflation, are we the people ever wealthier? Is it gonna, unless something starts changing for you and me? And if you're not part of the 1%, you're part of the 99. Now, there's different levels, right? You could be level 1 down to the bottom. You could be level 50 in the middle. You could be level 93. If you're not part of the 1%, you're part of the 99. So until things start looking better for you and me, and the lady who takes out the trash at Walmart, and the person who is flipping burgers at McDonald's, and all the people at all foundational levels and on their way up, when things start looking better for them, okay, I'm going to breathe a little bit easier that we're maybe doing the right things here. I hope, as Trump has said, there's a little bit of slate cleaning here, and maybe some of the old corruption of the old world days is going to go out, and we're going to start to see new and good things happen very soon. I hope so. But why are we preppers? Why are we survivalists? Why are we here? Because we hope for the best and we prepare for the worst. So guys, I think that is a good time to close out tonight's live show. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you to all of our members who make these live shows possible. If you haven't already and you want to join the FSS family, it's right down there or here. It says join right next to the subscribe button. You click that, you pick the tier that you want to join at, and you're a part of how we're doing this. So thank you guys for everything you do for me and my family. And thank you, Jordan, for coming in here tonight. I'm sure I'll see you later. You know, you got to do your chores, do your preps, and have fun. So maybe we'll play a little bit of games later. Maybe we'll do some things. I know my youngest son wanted to play a little bit of Black Ops. My oldest son wanted to play a little bit of Marvel Rivals. You know, he's like platinum or something wild on Marvel Rivals. He's real high. I'm just starting on it. So, you know, maybe somewhere in the middle. But thank you guys for being here. From my family to yours, stay safe out there, and we'll see you tomorrow.